Hello, everyone. This is Rob Golfi with REMAX, the Golfi Team. Welcome to the Golfi Real Estate Show with host Stephanie Vivier.
Rob, it is so great to be back with you. How are you?
I'm good. We've had some rain. We had some warm weather. Thank God. You know what I mean? Like we got rid of some of the snow, but it's just it's created havoc in everywhere with the snow. We're not used to it, even though 40, 50, 60 years ago we had snow like this all winter long. But now I don't know. It's just like shock to everybody because we're not used to it. And everybody's, it depends what occupation you're doing or whatever. It's just slowing everybody down. Now, years ago, this snow didn't stop anybody from going to school. Now we get flurries and they'll say, "Oh, okay, school's out. We got to watch out." So I mean, we've gotten softer over the years. I don't know what's going on with the human race. We're just getting softer and softer, and pretty soon there won't be any snow. They say there was a chance of it, and they're going to say no school today. That's how it's going to get. That's where it's going to go. I could see that happening. I mean, it's like how they say the guys from years ago, we walked 2 miles, 10 miles or whatever, and in snow and still went to school, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it just, it is what it is. But next week we're supposed to have some good weather. So
we are. Yeah, we got some. We did get some nice temperatures this week, and but the melt has been just like, it's so messy, Rob. The snow is beautiful, like when it's falling and it's white and it's kind of on those tree branches. It's really actually pretty to look at. But now we're getting to that ugly part. That's how we're getting into March.
Yeah. The ugly snow showing, like all from the roads and everything is just melting, and it doesn't have that pretty white look anymore.
All right. Well, let's get into real estate. That's your life for sure.
Yeah.
So what's the story? What's been happening this week, Rob?
Okay. So I took some numbers from what's happened from February over February stats. Now, all the numbers aren't in. They will be in by next weekend, but it's not looking good in sales wise. I'll tell you that. And what's happening is the numbers are showing that unit sales are way down, but benchmark price is up. Up from the previous month and stuff like that. So in Niagara, January sales were 384 units sold. Now the benchmark price was 750,000. Okay. Now, February, it shows that the benchmark price is 749,000 and 340 sales. Now, that could change. That's probably going to go up next week because all the unit sales aren't in. But we're down from February of last year. Now, we're in unit sales based on February over February. This is all in Niagara. I'm giving you Niagara all put together. February versus February. February of 2024, there was 515 sales. February of this year is 340. Even if it goes up to 360, 370, we're down 40% in unit sales, which is tough.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Like we're taking a beating. We're taking a beating. Now, this is reminding me, and I've said this before, of the 90s, where the prices of homes are staggering and they're going to flatline for a while. And I think that's going to happen. Now, I compare it to Hamilton. Hamilton's way down. They're down 68%, way down. February over February. So it's everywhere like that. The unit sales are down, but the benchmark price is up. And so house prices are moving up. But again, next month it could be down. It could be up. It's flatlining. That's what I call it. Now, during the 90s, and I explained this before, but sometimes some people didn't hear the previous shows that we've talked about. But the 90s, it flatlined for almost 8 years. Maybe even longer, like nine years. It flatlined. So house prices basically started your benchmark price was $165,000 in 1991. It was $165,000 in 1999. That's all. So, and I think we're in that, but I don't think it's going to last 9 years. I think it's going to be a lot less. So this is good timing for anybody that's looking at getting into the market, it got breathing room to buy something. I'm looking at buying stuff. I'm looking at this market as like, I can take my time. There's no rush. I'm not competing against anybody else, and I can actually get what I want and do my home inspection and everything else. And if it's the right property, it's perfect. But and the sellers out there, if you think the spring market you're going to do better, you know what? It's gonna be the same now. And there are more buyers out there now, and not as many houses for sale. So if you're looking at selling now, opportunity, less competition, but there will be more competition coming up in about 30 to 60 days from now. And everybody says, "Oh, my flowers look great." Hey, listen. People are looking at the house. If you got pictures of your house from summertime, you can leave them out on your table when you're putting your house up for sale. But it's nice. People like to move into their house in the spring, not sell their house and stuff like that. But yeah, the market is a tough one out there, and maybe because of the snow that slowed things down. I don't know. I think that had a bit of a factor. We had maybe a week of heavy snow that kind of slowed things down with sales. But I don't think but I do feel that it's just the market the way it is now. With interest rates coming down, why aren't sales happening? More sales happening. One reason: house prices are still expensive. They're high, and they're going to be like that. And that's why we're going to flatline for a while until the market catches up to it. It's not coming down. It's just we just have to wait till the market catches up to it, and then then you're going to start seeing it climb again. So that's why I say it's a great time now to buy if you're looking at buying investment properties.
Is there a factor there too, Rob, with some of the uncertainty right now? Of course, those interest rates are coming down, but there's so much uncertainty with what's coming at us from the U.S. We don't know what's going to happen. Tariffs, no tariffs. How is that going to affect? Are we going to lose our jobs? Like, is some of that maybe filtering in as well?
Absolutely. Now we have an election happening. The election is happening and this week and this past week. And that was a factor. There's so many factors of what's going on in the world. Things are different now. It is. Definitely the tariffs with Donald Trump. He is causing everybody around the world to be scared because they are the consumer country in the world that that they import a lot of stuff, and he's saying, hey, you want your goods in my country? We're gonna put tariffs on it, and so what means is that they're not gonna buy it anymore. Like, it's too expensive. So what's gonna happen in the U.S.? Companies are going to turn around. There's going to be companies that are going to start manufacturing their own products, and they're going to do well. And then companies that import products, they're not going to do well. And if that's everything they do, they may be out of business. So new businesses are going to start, and businesses are going to drop off and go bankrupt and close up. That's what's going to happen in the U.S. And it could happen here in Canada. I don't know. I'm sure. I think it's more talk for Trump to talk about tariffs and stuff like that, because they do need our products. They do need our pricing. We are cheaper. Our dollar is so low that we do sell a lot to the U.S. I don't know where it's going to turn out to be. I know there's a lot of uncertainty. I'll give you a perfect example. I had to make a decision about, I think, 6 weeks ago, just before Trump was elected, or just as he was elected. Now, we used to buy paper that printed my magazine that goes to, it goes to right through the Hamilton, Halton, Brantford, and Niagara region, and every house. So that's a lot of paper. So I had to make a decision on the paper quality that I wanted. The paper quality that the U.S. had was a little brighter. Like it was a little sharper when the ink went on it. So I liked that. That's what I wanted, right? Now, my printer company came to me and said, "Hey, listen, if we have to sign a contract with this company in the U.S. If we go with them and if they bring tariffs, it's gonna screw things up." And he says, "There's a Quebec company that we buy paper. The quality's, the thickness and everything, the per pound is the same, but it's just the quality is just a tad off." And I said, "Let's go with the Quebec one. People aren't gonna, compare, this oh wow, he didn't buy the better quality, brighter paper. Nobody looks at that. people want information. There it is. So
you're not going to have that side-by-side comparison to see what the paper could have been. So there's no way anyone's going to notice.
That's right. So now, just me alone, I'm just one person that does, does a lot of printing, which costs a lot of paper. Now we're not using the paper that was imported from the U.S., right? Because we're using Canadian, we're using paper mills that are here in Canada. So that's what's starting right now. So now that American company is basically now not getting business from us. So, and it's gonna go back and forth. Like it's gonna cause a lot of problems. So, and nobody's signing contracts to buy anything or sell anything. Like the Americans are going, well, wait a minute. Like we don't want to sign a long-term contract. We want to be committed to it. So now I'm sure their contracts do have a stipulation in there that if higher tariffs are introduced, that they have a right to cancel the contract, which a lot of manufacturing companies are saying, well, wait a minute, well, we're buying a lot of product to manufacture this to send to you. And so it's just causing problems with manufacturing companies, because that's how they need to order raw materials to make whatever they need to make, and then make it, send it to the U.S. Now they're careful in ordering the raw materials. Sometimes they may have to order raw materials from the U.S. They build it in Canada and then ship it back to the U.S. as a finished product. It's chaos out there, and they got to resolve this right away so everybody knows where they're at. Or maybe we just have to deal with this for 4 years while Trump's in power, and then it'll go back to normal with a different administration that comes in and deals with it. But I get it. Trump's trying to make his country better. I get it. Everybody wants their house. They want their house to be profitable. They want their house to be saving money, and that's what he's trying to do. I get it. And they're a powerhouse in the world, and they can do that. And he's got the guts, and he doesn't care what people think about him. He'll do whatever he wants to do.
I got a little bit of a challenge for you, Rob. We were just talking about, the benchmark price, and although sales have been down year over year, prices are staying solid. I think that's some good news for homeowners. Let's take it for what it is. In Niagara, what can you get for under $400,000? You got anything for us?
Yes. In Niagara. So I just wanted to give you an idea. There's not much, but there is. So in Niagara Falls, there are 6 homes under $400,000. 2 of those homes, they have boarded up windows. So obviously they need renovations or more. So, but anyway, there's 6 homes. So just to give you an idea, there's a house on McClashin Crescent. Okay, it's listed at $359. Just to give you an idea, like these properties that are under $400,000, they're gold mines. They're gold. They're not going to be around that long. This is listed at $359.9. These people bought this house in 2001 for $90,000. See how prices have gone up, even in the areas that aren't great. There's another one here. It's on Morrison Avenue. Now, it's listed currently for $385,000. Now, these people bought this house for $310,000 in 2021. So they probably paid a high dollar for it in 2021. But the people before him in 2018 paid $165,000. So prices do go up. Even these, like if you can negotiate a good deal on any of these houses, you will in 10 years more than double what you paid for it. So here's one in St. Catharines on Lake Street. So it's listed at $380,000. They bought it for $320,000 in 2019. So I mean, they're not making much on it. They haven't owned it enough to make a lot of money on it. But for some reason, I think they probably overpaid for it in 2019. There's one for sale for $393,000 on Carlton Street. In 2010, they paid $126,000. So it's more than doubled in price. But in Welland, there's some good deals there. There's one on Coho Street. It's currently listed at $300,000. They bought it in 2016 for $74,000. So there are good deals out there. And Welland has 8 under 400. St. Catharines has 4 under 400, and Niagara Falls has 6. So those properties are worth looking at and possibly buying as an investment, or moving in and maybe cleaning it up and fixing it up and staying there for 5 years before you go to your next house to upgrade to.
Yeah, those houses are out there. I thought it'd be a challenge, Rob, but no challenge for you at all. You were able to deliver on that. Maybe you want to check out some of those properties or talk to another member of the Golfi team. You can get a hold of them at 905-641-0308. RobGolfi.com is the website. Rob's sticking around. We got more Golfi Real Estate Show next, right here on News Talk 610 CKTB. Welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier, and our guest today, the one and only Rob Golfi. Rob, we talked a little bit about the crazy weather that we've had. We got all that dump of snow over the Family Day weekend and the week after that. And then last week, it was like melting a little bit, but we still got these big piles. Here's a question for you. When it comes to a rented place, if I'm a tenant, do I have to shovel the snow, or is that the landlord's job? Whose job is it to actually shovel when you're renting?
That is a good question. So my properties that I have, if they're duplexes, triplexes, or fourplexes, whatever, I have a snow removal company that goes there and takes care of it. But it's actually up to the landlord, even on a single family home. I'm going to read this to you. So this is, according to the Residential Tenancy Act, a landlord is responsible for providing and maintaining maintaining a residential complex, including the rental units in it, in a good state and repair, fit for habitation and complying with health and safety, housing and maintenance standards. And according to the court rulings, this includes snow removal. Now, with that said, some lease agreements specifically state that the snow removal is the tenant's responsibility. Now, on the tenancy agreement, sometimes people write that. That's not good enough. However, any clause in a rental agreement that allocated snow removal to the tenant is seen as unenforceable. So anybody, if you're a landlord out there, be very careful. Now, what they say is if a landlord does want to pass the responsibility of the snow removal onto the tenant and the tenant voluntarily agrees, it needs to be done, though, on a separate contract to avoid any slippery slopes. See what we did here. Now, as though the landlord was hiring through a third party, something that was driven home in Ontario's infamous Montgomery versus Van case. So basically, you need a contract separate from the landlord-tenant contract that says that the tenant is going to be responsible. Even if you do a monetary $1, let's say the property management company is going to pay you $1 for maintaining the snow and the lawn care, and that's it. And so you've got a separate agreement on that, so you're covered. So there was a case that happened in 2009 that was brought to the court when a tenant sued after she slipped walking towards the stairs of her basement apartment. Now, while her lease agreement stated that the tenants were responsible for keeping their walkway clean, including snow removal, the court ruled that passing the shoveling responsibility to the tenant can only be done through a separate contract on a severable cause. This should include timelines, how the snow shall be removed, whether they'll be provided with a shovel or equipment, and whether dollars are dropped from the rent as a compensation for their labor. Now, this in the city of Toronto, people have 12 hours to clear the snow after snowfall, or they'll face a fine of $500 right at the time of at that time. So that's like clearing the walkways in front of your house. So basically, if you have a duplex and you have a single family home, you need a separate agreement. And on that separate agreement, you got to stipulate everything that has to be done. Let's say you're going to cut the lawn, you're going to sweep the walkways, you are going to use your own lawnmower, your own shovel, and you're totally responsible for that. And here's $1 for the compensation for you doing it. And that's the best way to do it. We're a property maintenance company. We have that. Golfi Property Maintenance. So you can check us out online. But every landlord should have that. I'm telling you, there's always a way. This world, when it comes to the law, it's always against the landlord. Sort of hear that, but if you do it right, you win. You'll win, and there'll be no headaches, no problems.
I am shocked to learn this, Rob. We do have a rental property. So I'm going to be going out and making an agreement because we don't have a separate agreement, because I assumed that, as long as you and the tenant agree, that that's their responsibility. But, I know this is the city of Toronto that you cited, but, you think about 12 hours and certainly many roads in that big dump of snow we got a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, the roads weren't even cleared in 12 hours. So imagine being a landlord and having to have that kind of responsibility.
Yeah, just get a side agreement and then e-transfer them $1. Just say, here, I'm going to e-transfer you $1. This is basically saying that I hired you to clean the snow and cut the lawn or whatever, and you're responsible for it. So it's a separate side agreement, and it'll cover you. So if they slip and fall, you have a side agreement saying they agreed on the $1. They agreed on the cleaning the snow themselves. The one thing you can't do, like I've had that on like contracts in the past. I've had that, and I did have a guy sue me, and he tried to get money from me. That he slipped and fell on his staircase going to his apartment. It was a sixplex. Now, I had a steel staircase so if it snowed, it wouldn't pile up snow. It was hard. But anyway, this guy was looking for money, and I don't think he got any. I think the lawyer dropped him as a client because everything that he was showing was false. Like, he was caught in many lies, and he didn't get anything. But here's the thing is, I didn't have a separate agreement. This is many, many years ago on that. But now I do. The separate agreement, everybody signs. If they have to take care, if they have to do any shoveling whatsoever. So I take care of, like, I have a duplex, and the tenants take care of their own driveway, and they take care of their own walkway. I do have a triplex. I take care of the parking lot, but they take care of their walkway going to their door. So that's where you got to be very, very careful. And every tenancy should have it. Like, especially if it's a detached home, everybody, it's known. But when it comes to suing eventually down the road, when somebody wants to sue you, guess what? That's when all the T's have to be crossed and all the I's have to be dotted, and that's when you end up losing all the time. It's just they always find a fault. It's the same way.
That's great information.
Yeah, it is. So if you're an owner of a property and you are a landlord and you have tenants, get that separate agreement and then e-transfer them $1 and say this concludes our agreement that you're taking care of the snow removal.
Okay, excellent. Hopefully we won't have too much more snow falling.
Good information.
Good, really good information. Like I said, you saved at least one landlord a headache here today, Rob. So I'm sure others listening today are sending you a thumbs up as well. Something's going on down the road in Hamilton is the vacant unit tax, and we mentioned Toronto in the last story as well. They have a vacant unit tax, and now Hamilton is following suit on this. How does this work, and what are the implications if you do have areas that don't have tenants in them?
You know what? I find this is crazy because, like if you've had a property that's not being used for 183 days in 2024, they're going to tax you 1%. So let's say your taxes are $4,000 or $5,000. They're going to that you pay property tax on. They're going to add another $4,000 or $5,000 to your property taxes. So this starts April 30th, 2025. So I'm going to read what they put online here. It says a residential property owners must submit their 2024 occupancy status. All residential property owners are required to declare the occupancy status of their properties for the 2024 tax year by Wednesday, April 30th, 2025. So we're talking like almost 6 weeks from now. Now, failure to submit a declaration of the deadline will result in the residential unit being deemed vacant. The vacant unit tax will be applied following the recovery of administrative costs. Revenues generated from the vacant tax will be reinvested into affordable housing initiatives. So basically, they're trying to, they want people to let the city know that they had a vacant unit for 183 days. Good luck. Nobody's going to do that. You think anybody's going to volunteer? Okay, come on, City of Hamilton. Even people even aldermen and other people that work for the city will not do that. I'm going to tell you that right now. And so basically, the vacant tax unit is clear example of a commitment to tackling the affordable housing crisis head on. It's not going to change. It's not going to change it. I'm telling you. I'll tell you, I had a property, and I'm not sure how many years ago, but I wasn't sure if I was going to rent it out or sell it. Now, I didn't rent it out. It was empty. For 180 days, just because I didn't want to put a tenant in there, and then I'm stuck not getting him out of there. So now, if the city of Hamilton or Niagara or whatever, worked on getting the landlord-tenant board in order that and had proper hearings that happens quick, then yeah, you won't see as many empty units. Landlords are not renting them because they're not sure what they want to do with it. But people that have a second home, they live 3 months at one house and they live 3 months. Like it's going to be ridiculous. They're making it tougher in Canada to live, especially in Ontario. We're so taxed so heavily on this. And I don't know how they're going to implement this. It's going to be chaos. Anybody that goes forward and submits that, oh yeah, I had an empty unit, I'll pay an extra $4,000 this year. You think anybody's going to do that? No way. I don't see it, but it will come to Niagara, and because once Hamilton implements it, Niagara's going to implement it, and I think in Crystal Beach they did implement it because they were getting a lot of people, Americans, and that's a different tax. If you live out of the country and own a property in this country, you're taxed 1%. And that's what they had in Crystal Beach. A lot of people from Buffalo, they had these cottages they bought for $20,000 50 years ago, and now they're being taxed 1% because they're a non-resident of Canada or Ontario. So now they're implementing a vacant tax to people that are living here in Canada. They have a cottage or whatever. So I truly feel that. I don't get it. I don't, they're grabbing money. We have the wrong people running our municipalities, our governments, because they don't know how to manage money, and it's costing us people as the taxpayers a lot of money because we got people that don't know how to run a city.
And are they sending these notices to every single person who has a house in Hamilton? Like every single address will have to justify whether you're living in it or not? Or are they only targeting suspected rentals? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to manage this. I mean, am I going to get something in the mail? Like, I don't know. Like all my units are filled. They're all occupied. I don't have any empty units. And but I honestly like how are they going to track it? How are they going to know? Like, you know what I mean? How are they going to know that if you have an empty unit or not? People, what happens if somebody buys a property and it's uninhabitable and they're looking at tearing down and the city takes forever to give the guy a permit to tear down and build? Like, is he going to have to pay a 1% tax? Like, that's the city's fault. And you know what I mean? Right. So you're going to get a lot of that stuff. And there's going to be so many different things that are going to cause problems. And, like you have a fire in a house. Okay, it's empty. You can't have it. Nobody can live in there until it's fixed. Like, how are they going to, but see, this is a one-way track. And they'll say, well, sorry, you didn't tell us there was a fire. So, and you know what I mean? Like it's just like now you got to battle the city of Hamilton with this, but it's coming to Niagara. You're going to see. I don't know if it's going to be all in Niagara. I don't know if Niagara Falls is going to do it, St. Catharines, Welland, or Fort Erie or whatever, but you're going to see it happen across the board. Because just like it's happening in Hamilton, in Toronto, it's coming this way towards Hamilton. It's going to go towards Niagara. So maybe next year you're going to start seeing this happening in Niagara, which I don't like. I think it's wrong, and we're taxed heavily enough.
if you do have one of those vacant units, make sure you're nice to your neighbors, because I think the only way they'll catch people is if someone actually snitches and the bylaw officer has to go out and check, right?
Yeah, just what you do, just buy some mannequins and have them in the house, and then have them go back and forth on a little train thing, just like on Home Alone. Remember the Home Alone,
Yeah.
First Home Alone movie, and so just so it looks like somebody's in the house at night. You have lights that go on and off, all that kind of stuff. So,
Oh my God. So funny. Great warnings for us here on the Golfi Real Estate Show. Rob Golfi is sticking around. You can find out more about his team at their website. It is robgolfi.com. Back with Rob here next on News Talk 610 CKTB. And welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier and Rob Golfi with REMAX, the Golfi team, with us today, getting into all things real estate. We talked about some ugly stuff. Rob, we talked a little bit about the dirty snow. We talked about taxes. We talked about tariffs. This is all gross stuff. Let's talk about some beautiful things, shall we?
absolutely.
All right. So you've got some beautiful areas to tell us about.
Yes. So here's the question. So House Beautiful, it's a magazine that put out a list that 7 countries are smart real estate investments. And then there was another article that says 6 countries where you can buy real estate with a better payoff than Canada. Now, the one with the 7 countries that are smart real estate investments, they were showing that Portugal was one. Now, Portugal had the coastal. Now, I'm going to just read a little bit about each one. The coastal European country is the latest trendy travel destination. Now, Portugal, I don't know if that's an investment or that's, you can Airbnb it. A lot of people are doing that and quickly becoming a popular place to buy as a second home. It's cheaper now than any other Western European countries. Now, Spain, just over the border from Portugal, lies another excellent investment opportunity. Spain offers an attractive mix of culturally rich and sophisticated cities and laid-back beach towns, which is great. And Turks and Caicos Islands. After years of ski vacations, designer Ainsley Hayes and her family decided to buy a second home in Turks and Caicos. I guess that's how you say it. It has a relaxed island lifestyle, but also offers active family activities. So Costa Rica is a place. I've been to Costa Rica. I've been to Portugal also. It's becoming more and more common for travelers to go on holidays in Costa Rica and never leave. The country has a warm, sunny climate. Mexico, bordering the U.S., Mexico is a short flight or drive if you happen to live in Texas or California from American cities. United Arab Emirates, okay, that's in Dubai. I would love to go there. I don't know if I will ever go there. It's a pretty far plane ride. And so Dubai is halfway around the world, and it's tax-free environment, no tax, no income tax, makes second homes here a good real estate investment. The city's booming economy and continuous infrastructure development make it thriving real estate market. Now, Colombia. Now, I was just in Colombia this year. South American country is still considered an emerging market, which basically means it's hot but affordable. While everyone is booking trips to Cartagena, where I was. So that it's amazing. So those are the 7 that they're saying are smart real estate investments. Now there was another one that said that where you can buy real estate, it's better payoff than Canada. Now they say Montenegro. Okay, why? Affordable real estate, scenic seaside towns, short-term rentals are popular. Cost 3% property taxes in Montenegro, and investment potential. Rental yield is 5.3 in the city, and outside's 5.1. Stability, slight less than the U.S. Panama, I'm seeing a lot of friends that are going to Panama. Strong economy, U.S. pegged currency, favorable tax laws for investors, popular expat destination with typical climate, costs and regulations, $250K for 2-bedroom, a prime location, residency available for investment for over $200,000. That's not bad. If you can get a place like that for $200,000, and great investment, 9.1% yield. That's not bad.
Okay, so they give you residency, I guess that would be like some sort of permit to live there as long as you're spending over $200,000.
Exactly.
Easy.
A lot of countries are
Yeah.
like that. A lot of countries are like that. Again, they say United Emirates on this one, same. It's got a high yield on there. Their rental yield is 12.2%. Amazing. Georgia. Why invest in Georgia? Low cost of entry, $60K for a 2-bedroom. No need to visit to purchase real estate. Strong tourism, cost regulations, 20% flat tax on rental income, capital gains, 20% of selling within 2 years. So not bad. Malta is just an island outside of I think Italy or something like that. Why invest? Attractive Mediterranean lifestyle, stable Euro economy, strong tourism. And 5% stamp duty, short-term rental laws, 15% tax on rental income. Now, Costa Rica, again, shows up again. Costa Rica, growing expat community, low property taxes, investment yield 6.5. So these are areas that are good to buy real estate outside of Canada. Now, would you buy a property outside of Canada? Like, you have to fly there. Like, if anything happens, you have to have a property management company that takes care of everything for you. But if there's problems, you don't know, like, if you're being, had or not, you got to trust somebody that's going to take care of it for you. Otherwise, you're going to have to fly back and forth and keep hiring different people to find somebody that's going to be trustworthy to manage these properties.
Yeah, it's become like a really ever since the pandemic, right? Like everything changed obviously with that, and people's jobs went online. And so you heard of different people going to work, like in Portugal, these different places, they can just rent for a while. And some people made it permanent. Some people made the change permanent. So I don't know if you have a job like that where maybe you commit to 6 weeks renting a place there. You can do your job online. You can still kind of keep your place back here just to really do the investigation. Like one of the destinations you said, I think it was Malta, where you could just buy the real estate without actually having to visit there. Never. Like, there's no way, Rob. That doesn't seem like a good idea.
No. I'll tell you. So like Italy, you can buy a place for $1. Now, there are a lot of empty places in Italy. People are moving away. They're moving more north. I know I went to my dad's town where he was from, and in the little village that he's in. It's just a small village. At the height of the village, when it was fully occupied, there were 700 people living there, and now there's only 100. So there's a lot of empty houses there, and most of them are like townhouses, right? Because they build them all together, one long row. And when I went there, I remember when my dad went back for the first time after he came to Canada, and he went to sell the family home, like his parents' home, and so he sold it. And so back then, like if he kept it, it'd be worth less now than if he did sell it in the 70s. And
wow.
Like it's just like, and that's why the government is saying, listen, they took over all these properties. A lot of them got abandoned, and then no taxes were paid. And then like now they own them, and they own a ton of real estate. The government owns a ton of real estate. They want to unload it. They're willing to unload it for $1 just so that somebody can take over, pay the taxes, renovate them, use them, maybe Airbnb them out. It just depends where they are. Like, I mean, if you're in popular towns where there's a lot of tourism, they're going to be worth a lot more money. But if they're not, like in the south, like you go to Sicily and these little villages, areas that's totally abandoned, yeah, you can get it for $1, but are you going to go there? Like, there's nothing around. Like, it's not like, so you're hoping that other people buy them around the world that they vacation there, and then now you got a little bit of a community that's happening there. And but yeah, would I chance buying it for $1 in Italy? It depends where. It has to be someplace that is not too far off the beaten path. Someplace that I can say, hey, you know what? This is not a bad place just to hang my hat, relax and enjoy and learn the culture and speak the language if you want to learn the language. But But yeah, would I invest in another country? It's tough. I like touching and feeling my properties. I like to drive by them. I like to see what's going on. Buying something in a different country, especially Europe, that, it's a 9-hour flight to get there. Just as, if something goes wrong and it's expensive. Yeah. Like I honestly, I don't know. I like buying local. I'm sticking to local.
Yeah, I think, if you're a person who, and some people did this again, going back to the pandemic, where they picked up, I know actually a couple of families had young kids and they actually moved to Mexico during the pandemic and they took their kids and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're really committed to moving your entire life, that's one thing. But as far as a second property, you really do have to be there or have connections. Like maybe you've got family in that country and you get a place and they can help you renting it out. But in this climate of vacation rentals that are available, Airbnb, VRBO type sites, like it doesn't seem worth it. Like you brought us a story on the show a couple of weeks ago about how snowbirds in Florida, they can't get rid of their places, or their places are really, dropping in value. So you think of a place like that, it's pretty easy to get to, it's a quick flight, the time zone's the same, it's warmer. So that's pretty desirable, but you can see how things can change and, with different governments and policies and things like that. And then you're kind of stuck with this place that you've invested in and you can't unload it.
Yeah. Well, look at Niagara Falls. I mean, there was a ton of Airbnbs throughout Niagara Falls. Boom, they kiboshed that. They said, hey, sorry, because there's hotels in Niagara Falls. So people were buying properties to Airbnb them out. Guess what? They changed that law. You can't Airbnb your property out. And the city's checking online to see if you're advertising it. So you have to be careful with that. Long-term rentals is the best way to go no matter what. You get a tenant, they move in, they stay there 1 year to 5 years, 10 years, who knows how long. Those are the best ones. Those laws never change. But you go and you buy a property and you want to Airbnb it out, that they can change the laws on Airbnb in any city, any town, anytime. And you have to be very careful when you're buying an investment property like that, because yes, Airbnb, you rent that out, you generate way more money for the property. It's a great investment. But if you're banking on that dollars and you're buying it based on the price of the property, you're basing it on those dollars coming in, and it covers, not a problem. But let's say they cancel that. You can't do Airbnb anymore. Now you got to do long-term rental. That long-term rental could be 30 to 50% less than what you would have gotten Airbnb renting out to 10 different people in a month. And now it doesn't cover. You own the investment property. Now you're got negative cash flow, and it's sucking you dry. And what do? You either sell it, and if if timing is bad to sell it, you're going to lose even more money. So you got to be very, very careful. I always tell people, if you're buying an investment property, whether it's local or it's out of country, anywhere else, and you're going to Airbnb it out, always check to see what the long-term rental would be on that property in case Airbnb, the city says we're not doing Airbnb in this town anymore, and they shut it down. Like Toronto, there's tons of hotels, and I think there's a restriction there with Airbnb. I'm not sure if you need a license or not, but anywhere there was a lot of hotels, Airbnb is going to be difficult. Now, if there's not hardly any hotels, they need those Airbnbs to attract tourists to come to that town. So that's where you have to look to get to buy an investment for Airbnb towns. And I know in Europe, there's tons of areas, these small little areas, beach towns that don't have hotels. They may have one or two small boutique hotels, but there's a lot of Airbnbs, and the town appreciates that because it draws tourists. People get to stay there. They got a place to stay, and they're not building new hotels. There's no room to build hotels there, and if they are, it's too expensive. So be very careful when you're investing in different countries, or even in our own country or our own province. Be careful on the laws when it comes to rentals.
It's such a different conversation than it was, say, 7-8 years ago, right? Because it seems like cities have caught up with Airbnb. Like Airbnb went under the radar for so long, and other rideshare apps, things like that. They're all kind of coming to Jesus right now with like what this actually means for people, and so now government's kind of trying to catch up with the regulation of it all, and how do they deal with it, and that's just a reminder of like how things aren't how they will always be. So people who did really well with Airbnbs, whether it's in the city where they live or in foreign markets and things like that, just don't have the same opportunities. It's like, some people got in there and they got lucky, and they made a bunch of cash, but those kinds of opportunities, particularly this, maybe don't exist anymore.
Oh, they don't, not as much. Even Hamilton, like I know a lot of people, they had to change their short-term rentals to long-term rentals, and they were banking on that Airbnb money coming in, and they were making a fortune. So times change all the time. You got to be careful.
That's why we do the Golfi Real Estate Show. Rob always keeps us update on the changing tides of real estate. If you want to find out more about him and the #1 REMAX team in Canada, the Golfi Team, give them a call, 905-641-0308, online at robgolfi.com. Thank you so much for your time, Rob.
Thank you.
You're listening to News Talk 610 CKTB.